Welcome to Bible in the Backyard. Here we are in chapter 15 in the book of Deuteronomy, Parak Vav, and we have here sort of the Torah's program and plan to alleviate the suffering of the poor. And it deals with the circumstances where people find themselves in really harsh conditions where they kind of can't get out of a cycle of poverty. And I want to focus specifically on the law of the Eved Ivri, the indentured servant. And the Torah places a time limitation of 6 years, right, on the Eved Ivri, after which it can no longer be indentured. And I'm just curious about your perspective on the Torah's going out of its way for the humane treatment here, and particularly in this law.
Yeah, it's true. The book of Deuteronomy is particularly interested in the humane aspects of the law. So it mandates that when you send him out, you have to send him with gifts as well. That's really important economically. To be fair, Hammurabi sets a limit of 3 years on slaves. So
more humane.
Yeah, so it's not a reform in the limiting direction. But you have to think about the economic background of this guy, right? So we have apparently in the Bible we have two different kinds of Hebrew slaves. In Leviticus we have a farmer who sold off everything already. He has no means of support for himself or his family whatsoever. So then he sells himself essentially as an indentured servant. And of course in that case it makes no sense to let him out until the Jubilee year, because if you set him free he still has no way to support himself. He's just going to turn around and sell himself to someone else. He has no means of support. But in the Jubilee, then you set him free and all the land returns and he gets a fresh start. This guy, apparently in Deuteronomy and probably in Exodus 21 also, he's probably done something one time that got him into a lot of debt. So maybe borrowed a huge amount of money that he wasn't able to pay back or stole. This is probably the case that the rabbis talk about as the court sells him. The court sells him because we have decided that you must pay back. You can go on living, but we need you to pay back your debts quickly. So that debt could be, who knows, in our terms, millions and millions of dollars, and your labor is only worth $100,000 a year. Say a limit, 6 years. Now we don't think you have a lot of money, and so when we send you out, make sure that you acknowledge that for those 6 years you've actually gotten a lot from this person. So send him with gifts, give him a secure footing. He can go back and at least start to put his life back in order. It's not so different from our problem of people who are released from prison, who are often, less and less, but often been back in prison, not because of any profound moral failing, but because they literally don't have a lot of options. And we're realizing more and more, you actually need to think about what's going to be life after that in order to make it feasible.
So the recognition of the Torah here is it's the humane treatment and also enabling someone to continue going on, right? Giving that kind of fresh start and the ability to move forward.
There's an economic reality.
Says, the highest form of charity is actually enabling somebody to have a job and be self-sufficient. Right. So we have relics of that in this chapter.
Right, and of course the first part of the chapter, as you said, is actually about poverty and then what to do when you see someone who's poor. So I think that is the big theme of this chapter overall. Yeah, thank you.